Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, always joined by my co-host Dale. How are we doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, Andy? How's it going? Yes, happy Sunday. Recording today. Today is the 23rd of January, so it looks like we have a little bit of Royal Rumble wiggle room. Am I correct? Okay, so we're going into it. Today we're going into 2001. It's just a glorious time for all of us. This is the height of the Attitude Era. Please excuse the background noise. I'm sorry? What time did we feed him? We probably fed him around 5 o'clock. So he's late for the feeding. So there was a guest appearance right there. So we did not feed him last in 2001. All right. So we have a hungry baby. But anyway, Royal Rumble 2001. Basically, height of the Attitude Era. We're getting into this kind of like turn of where everything is culminating, and we're going to see how we get there. Correct, Andy?
That's right. Yeah. I say we're on our last Royal Rumble probably for this year. Now we still got a lot to go in the next years to come, but with one of the best in my eyes. I think it one of the best, but at the same time one of probably the saddest as well, because after this it was kind of the change into the Ruthless Aggression era, wasn't it? I'd probably say after this Royal Rumble was probably the last one in the Attitude Era, and it wasn't really at this point. It was more of a diluted Attitude Era, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Because they don't have at this point. We don't know it yet, but WCW is going to be in talks to actually getting bought. I think their final pay-per-views are going to be taking place pretty soon at this point. So you are going to see some of the people that just had enough with them. They're going to be in this pay-per-view. They're actually going to make a special appearance. We spoke about it a few weeks ago as well. But, you're going to start seeing the turn. And also you're going to see ECW kind of unfold as well. But we get into the first match here, and we have ECW-ites, Devon, who you just recently interviewed for Wrestle Buddy, and our friend Bubba Ray Dudley. They're going against the 5-second posers of Edge and Christian. Pinnacle.
How good were they in this, though? By the way, I loved Edge and Christian at this point. You know what I mean? I just thought they were great. I loved the bit. Well, there was one, I can't remember what it was on, but where they turned around and he's going, "Hey kid, you were wrong. And when you grow up, you'll still be wrong." It's just brilliant.
And they're carrying around a trophy, a Stanley Cup trophy. Just they knew who they were. It was nice because remember, they were not supposed to talk at any point. That first promo that they ever had was brutal.
Did you ever hear the story about Vince McMahon wanting to do a gimmick where he blocked Christian's face out?
Yeah, I think he just wanted him to wear a mask or something like that.
Well, apparently, he just, for whatever reason, throughout his whole career, Vince McMahon didn't like Christian's face. Don't know why. It's something that Bruce Pritchard's brought up a lot of times on his podcast, and Jim Ross has said it a few times as well on Grill and JR. And apparently, one of the mask was one that they were looking at. The other one that they were looking at was actually to superimpose like a blare out on his face from the production truck, and just have that as his gimmick where you couldn't see his face.
Look, nothing surprises me with this company. They literally had a person named Who on the company. So,
well, this was
half of Christian's character was his facial expressions and just him talking. I mean, a lot of us remember him just being the dickhead that he is,
Yeah.
So it's not too off the cuff.
No. And the thing is, it just shows you as well, is, as we always say about characters being themselves and being what they should be rather than trying to be something that they're totally not. I'm not saying Edge is a dick in real life, but obviously he likes to have fun and stuff, which you can see in this party here with Edge and Christy, and they were real life friends from childhood, so they had that chemistry as well. And eventually they go from the heels into baby faces and whatnot, don't they? And obviously we know the career that they both had. And it all started by letting them be themselves, because when they were in the Brood situation, they weren't really going nowhere, was they?
No. I'm not going to blame David Heath. David Heath was Gangrel. Gangrel to a T. I just watched the Luna Vachon Dark Side of the Ring, and he's a very well-spoken person, has a good mind for the business. Loved hearing whatever he has to say. Even to this day, you still like hearing it. His ideas. He understands the business. He was part of the Blackhearts with Tommy. I forget what the hell his name is, but it's not. He's not in this pay-per-view. So,
no.
but we have a nice opening match up here. This match we see a lot of back and forth, but we have new tag team champions at the end. We had the Dudleys overcoming Edge and Christian.
Yeah, 3-0, and we got the pin.
Yeah.
So
look,
nice little way to open the show, wasn't it?
Do you recall how over somebody saying "get the tables" was?
And you know what? It just showed you it wasn't just to get the table. Remember the Wazza and all that. And obviously, anybody who doesn't know, the Wazza come from where Devon would hold the legs. Was it Devon? No, it wasn't. It was Bubba who hold the legs, wasn't it? And Devon would come off the top and headbutt them in the testicles, shall we say?
Yeah, Devon. Yeah, right. Devon was the person that was the sacrificial lamb to put his head in somebody else's groin. So
yeah. And the Wazza come from a Budweiser advert that was on at the time. That was quite popular, and obviously the Dudley Boys got onto that. Well, either the Dudley Boys or someone in creative thought, let's do a bit of a crossover here, and worked out really well, didn't it?
No, it worked out in Scary Movie as well.
Yeah, and then they ended up, I never got, what I was looking at the other day, I seen just randomly on Facebook, there was WrestleMania entrances with live bands, and one of them was the Dudley Boys when they had that stupid Get the Table song, which I never really liked. And they had Stacy Keibler with them, and I was just like, I never got what Stacy Keibler brought to the Dudleys.
They didn't need her.
No,
I don't think they needed her, but they wanted to align her with somebody. But she was kind of funny with her valet services because they had testicles.
Yeah,
with Test and no, that wasn't Test and Albert. She was just with Test, a guy who never. I thought he had championship
the testicles was his fans, wasn't it? Remember he was saying, let's have the testicles. Yes. But they were actually going out in real life as well, I believe.
Tested a lot of people, didn't he? He did Kelly, did her. He's got a pretty good repertoire, but we all know who's got the best. Big Dave.
Yeah.
Big Dave Batista.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was one little clanky spot. It was during that Wazz Up where they were going to do the Wazz Up to Edge and Christian were going to do the Wazz Up to Devon, I think, or Bubba Ray, and Edge stalled on the top. No, Christian stalled on the top rope for like 9 months. So, it was just clanky. I liked the match though. It was fun. It's a good way to start. Yeah. Dudley's are a very good way. That crowd erupts as soon as you hear that music. So I was a fan of the Power Man 5000 entrance though. I always liked Bombshell. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. I always loved that entrance. Just a little point on the fight is Hal Finkel's still announcing here as well, isn't it? I don't think it's too long after this that he starts phasing out a little bit. And he was awesome, wasn't he, Howard?
They go to Lillian after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Howard was just legendary. One fall.
He just even when you heard him talk, he just kind of it wasn't that he was putting on an announced voice, it was just his voice, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's just how he spoke. Even when you hear him talk in the back, it's he had this diction and he carried out just amazing linguistics. So that's when I did a little bit of the in a world where I did that beforehand.
And then we've got referees Mike Chioda, Tim White, Jimmy Cornelius, Jack Doan, Earl Hebner, Chad Patton. What a bunch of referees that is.
Yeah.
What a bunch of referees. That are great referees.
Legendary.
Much better than don't think any of them are still going now. Well, Earl's still going somewhere, isn't he? But apart from that, there's not a lot of them left now, is there?
No.
Although I do like Charles Robinson.
Yeah. I mean, you got Charles Robinson, basically just mini Nate, a guy who loves the business, actually loves Ric Flair a little bit more. Yeah. Did you watch that Hidden Treasures show when they went to go get the robe? And it was just it's a weird moment. It was a weird moment because I was like, why are you asking this guy?
Yeah. It's like they were putting him under too much pressure, wasn't they, on it, which was sad. But anyway, Charles Robinson, good referee, all these good referees, much better than the shit that we've got today. Yeah, try and get themselves over, bitch.
I tried to watch. I had Rampage on. She's such a distraction, biggest distraction. And it was probably Moxley came back, and I watched that. It was just best match.
Yeah, I was.
against Ethan Page. I'm watching that, and I'm just like, this girl is so distracting.
Yeah.
Do you ever see a
It's the
girl
way
do
she
what she
lies
does?
around, and she's like flying her hands about, but yeah, bitch. One thing I will say very quickly before we move on is in that Rampage match with Moxley, how good was the commentating on that match? I thought it was really good the way that he was saying, you know, Moxley's lost a bit of weight here. You know, does he have to change his style? Will he have to be a bit quicker and nimble on the feet, or will he still have the power that he had before? And, you know, thought he'd done a cracking job with that.
He looks healthy, and he actually looks like an older wrestler that actually knows how to work. It's nice to see. So welcome back, just to diverge from that. So
okay, though. Well, next we had two of the greats in my eyes: Chris Benoit versus Intercontinental Championship against Chris Jericho in a ladder match, which was always going to be a good match, wasn't it?
of course it is. One other thing that we didn't touch upon was there's a weird tone. There's a weird tone during this whole pay-per-view. First match, one of the main storylines going in is the concussion and how these superstars are trying to fight through concussions. This match does not aid that. Did they talk about a concussion? No, but you saw something that could really scramble brains in this. And this was the suicide dive from Benoit to Jericho, and Jericho hit him in the face with a chair. And
yeah,
it's unfortunate that we look back on these and say that's not a good mark on the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I know nobody likes to mention Benoit and whatnot, but I do, because as much as what he done wrong and, you know, was personal, that's absolutely fine. But Benoit, the wrestler, was awesome.
Yeah.
And you can't deny that. You know, he really, really was. He was really good. And obviously, when I remember when this match was coming on, I remember thinking like, oh, well, this is going to be great, because the chemistry between these two was just undeniable, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look, they've known each other for how long at this point? You know, not only was the Canadian connection, but both these guys were actually just really great superstars, just phenomenal. I mean, take into account, you know, whatever the future holds for one of them. You know, these guys know how to put on a show, and they always did know how to get the best out of crowds. I mean, even the cooperation on being on a ladder, having a submission move placed on you. I mean, that's, you know,
it's also one thing I want to really push here as well is the mid card here. You know, Chris Benoit versus Jericho, who would go on to be world champions, awesome wrestlers and stuff on the mid card, fighting for the Intercontinental Champion when it meant something. You know, nowadays I don't think like it's got the same. You know, I said this on the Wrestle Buddy podcast yesterday, where it's like it just doesn't seem to have that same kind of meaning anymore. It's like, you know, and that's down to bad booking, it really is. But it's also down to the fact that I don't think WWE's mid card is as strong now as like back then. It was awesome, wasn't it? And
yeah. I mean, are we sitting here going, Apollo Crews is going to be the next big thing?
Yeah, no.
You know, and they're kind of doing it with Shinsuke right now, and I'm like, he could have been a champion. I mean, I thought that AJ Styles match he had in Mania was great, and in retrospect, I don't think anything bad could have happened if you did put the strap on him. I'm sorry if I heard them say cash in the title opportunity at WrestleMania. I said, it's not cashing in, you earned it. Yeah, so the terminology, we have to tiptoe around pay-per-view now, right? But yeah, the mid-card, you know, there's people that you could pick out and say, this guy is going to be a champion someday, and this guy can. It's not, oh, look, there's Omos, he's big, get him a shot.
No.
You know, doesn't work that way anymore, folks.
Another spot on this match that was great was when he done the walls of Jericho on top of the ladder. Thought that was awesome as well.
Aesthetically, it's weird to look at, but then you understand that there is some sort of like you need to work with people, and they're both the perfect height to do that. You know, we're not going to talk about almost trying to do that, or a Canadian destroyer onto, you know, Shelton Benjamin over here. Actually, I would love to. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah. Well, Jericho come out on top of this and won the Intercontinental Championship. Right move in my eyes at the specific point. You know, Benoit was probably moving on towards the top of the you know, he was going to go up to the main event status, wasn't he? That just not long after this.
Yeah, not too long. because he was kind of, I'm not gonna say fodder, but he would earn his stripes more and more. Was this where Chris Jericho would do the promotions of "I will defend it on a boat"?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will see Benoit on a goat.
I love Jericho back then. Jericho was just even now though. I don't dislike Jericho nowadays. I think maybe he stays around a little bit too young, but at the same time, again, Le Champion and all that, he's reinvented himself again and again, hasn't he?
Next match is going to be
you fucking ass.
I love him too. I had that first shirt that he actually wore with the faces of Jericho, the red and orange one. I had that. Now I can't, like, if I were to dedicate liking Chris Jericho, it'd be back then. Now I truly believe he's a leech and he's just going with what's popular. And when the pandemic first started, his announcing was great. Now he's screaming at the top of his lungs every single match. And I'm like, I can't, you know.
See, I still like him. I think if Tony Khan's gone in now, so I'd sign him up to do some background stuff for them when he finishes, because the knowledge in that he's got is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you're also getting. I think you're getting paid by AEW, Mr. Meltzer. So,
yeah,
good job,
Uncle Dave. That's who it is. In the third contest, we had Ivory defending the women's championship against China. Both women attempted to gain advantage. China controlling much of the match. The end came when China attempted a handspring back elbow on Ivory, who was in the corner. However, China fell to the canvas, injuring her neck. Ivory then covered it for the successful pinfall. Okay, and next. Do you know what? I always felt sorry for China. I really did, because
why?
Because she was such a tweener.
Because she was above the woman and below the men in the division.
Yeah. She was kind of, she was, if you looked at China, realistically, no woman on that roster looked like a credible threat to her. But then people didn't take to her going into the men's division. So she was kind of just stuck in this kind of little, limbo on her own, wasn't she? Like a tweener, just stuck there where she didn't really have a home.
She thought she knew her own value. Like, she was asking for these crazy deals for money. And she, at one point, there was, I guess, maybe talks of her being the world champion, which would have been just really terrible at the time. Yeah. And it wouldn't have made sense.
Do you think that she thought her own value, though? Or do you think because of the whole Triple H situation that she thought she had more leverage than what she did?
She thought her own value after that. Remember, she was probably a wreck at that point.
No, but what I mean is, she thought in her head, well, obviously I've stayed with the company. I haven't caused no thing for the $1 billion princess. You know what I mean? It's like, have I got a bit more leverage here than what I potentially will, because they don't want me to go, so I can go out and spread a load of crap about them?
I guess, yeah, they could have. I don't think that she understood how the contracts work. Like, she wanted to get paid more than Austin, but a lot of those, those incentives, it's just, a lot of it is merchandise driven too.
Yeah.
But she wanted to get that $1 million guarantee, and then the merch on top of that. It was just like, it's unheard of. But it also wouldn't have been beneficial, because the way the contracts were done, it's like, okay, here's $500,000, let's just say. And then, it was more lucrative as the merchandise would go in there. So it's like, if you went in and bought, like, let's say that aforementioned Chris Jericho shirt, he got paid royalties on that, so I supported him. I gave him money. But, China, the worst part about this whole thing to me that we're not even talking about is the terrible acting job on Lawler and Jim Ross when she was taken to the back. And I've heard in interviews, and I guess I could see the comparison, they made it the Owen Hart type vocalization. Like, the way they worded it was very like when Owen died, and it's like they got a lot of crap for it. Jim Ross to this day will tell you how bad of a take that was, and he says, I fucked up. Like I should not have done that, because it's just like you're comparing a kayfabe injury to somebody literally dying. So
Yeah.
not good.
No.
This match itself sucked. Ivory deserved better, to be honest with you. Deserved better than China, but China had the look. China changed her look too many, many times as well.
She did. She did. Right. Next on, we've got WWF champion Kurt Angle was challenged by Triple H after Vince gave him a match. So 2001, we're already starting to see the reaping the rewards of holding hands with the boss's daughter, should we say?
I guess, yeah. He got the rib right there, or he got the rub. No pun intended. This goes back to Kurt Angle just being fantastic. The guy was in the industry for a couple of years at that point, pro wrestling, and they knew what they had. They had a guy that could talk. They had a guy that could act. They had a guy that could interact with people. They had a guy who could. The most important thing was wrestle. And whether heel or babyface, he was just awesome any single time he was out there. So why not put him against Triple H, and Triple H for the title, and have the belt on the line and throw Trish Stratus in there. Trish and Stephanie would get into a little tussle. Vince would grab Trish at that point, and we would see this actually continue for a few months into WrestleMania, where we see the Linda McMahon, how do you put it? Catatonic stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see that pop. So shout out to the boys at OVW for uncovering Corpse Linda. But great match, man. Great match. Austin gets involved at the end because Triple H.
Yeah, he hits the stunner and then Angle crawls over him and gets the win.
It's just awesome.
It really was.
I'm just at this point in the pay-per-view, I'm just like remembering these builds, and I don't remember all of them at the time. I'm just remembering like what scenarios in my mind I was thinking could happen here. And the biggest thing, I'm like, well, Triple H could win and then he could face Rock at Mania, because if Rock wins the Royal Rumble, they were actually pushing for Rikishi to be, a guy that's actually a credible threat. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you didn't know the outcomes all the time. You wanted them. That's what it was. Yeah. There was still the skepticism. Like, do you remember going in? Like nowadays, it's kind of up in the air with who's winning. But do you know who the sure shot winners were in the past? Like, could you call them? I don't know. I don't know if you could call them.
You could, well, 98, we all knew. 97, 98, Austin was always going to win, wasn't he? I think 92 was a surprise because I didn't think Flair would win that one. I think everyone expected Hogan to win it.
Yoko was a surprise too.
Yoko was,
Well, were you expecting Yokozuna to win?
I expected no one could get him out the ring.
Because they didn't have that at the time. They didn't have a guy like, look at that, like Heenan. God, Heenan putting people over. It was just
unreal. Just awesome, wasn't he?
He's fantastic.
Heenan was one of them as well. He could put somebody down he could bring somebody up by putting them down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Guy was always a heel. It was fantastic. Always a heel and did that. Yeah. It's Shawn Michaels the first time around. Couldn't call that, right?
No. But anyway, the Royal Rumble match was the main event on this card as well. We talked last week on Royal Rumble 1998 about the fact that the championship match headlines that card. What's your thoughts on that in terms of like, should it be?
Absolutely.
Should the Royal Rumble be the main event or should the champion be the main event?
No, the Royal Rumble has to be. That's why people go. A lot of times people don't expect a championship change to happen and occur on Royal Rumbles. When you think that there's something in the air, that's when maybe you could have that as the last match. But I truly believe that, that's the only reason why I went in 08. There were some good matches on there.
All right.
That's where Mike Adamale did the Jeff Harvey He called him Jeff Harvey on the mic.
Yeah,
We all
right.
laughed at the crowd.
So first 10 in the Rumble, we had Jeff Hardy, Bull Buchanan, Matt Hardy, Farouk, Drew Carey, Kane, Raven, Al Snow, Perry Saturn, and Steve Blackman. Right. Now, I'm going to ask you something here, right? Drew Carey was eliminated by himself. Can you name the first person to eliminate themselves from the Rumble?
Andre.
Mm-hmm. And second, we'll just do two.
Macho Man.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. When he jumped over to Chase Jake. Away.
Don't mess with me, bro.
I like it.
Let's face it. Okay, this list is amazing right here. These first 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Drew Carey. Drew Carey was promoting a pay-per-view to be shown the next Saturday. I actually watched that pay-per-view. They said that because the Cablevision gave out coupons for free pay-per-view, but they didn't say the extent of what type of pay-per-view. They said it was just, just to get a movie or something like that. So we ordered it, and we actually had to fight with the cable company saying your coupon did not say what event it was. And we were correct that we ended up getting it. It was actually pretty funny. Does Drew Carey translate to you guys in the UK?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't like you. That's why you haven't had a pay-per-view in years. Decades, correct?
If Drew Carey is what's coming out of America, yeah, okay.
I will gladly give you back James Corbin.
Gee, fuck, no, he's yours now. You can have him. So
anyway, Jeff and Matt end up throwing B squared out. You got Farouk comes in. Farouk comes in. They have a little tussle with him. They toss him out. They're fighting each other because that's what every smart person should do in the Royal Rumble. And for some reason, baby faces always do this. I'm gonna be tough. I hate that. So stupid. Drew Carey comes in. Drew saw Kane in the locker room and tried to shake his hand and said, "Hey, one of the wrestlers, look at these guys." And he goes to shake his hand. Kane walks by, and you'll see it right behind me. That was a fun little interaction. Yeah. Kane goes to choke slam him. Raven says, "Oh shit, maybe I should come out and jump my cue," which he does. And then that's when Drew throws himself over. And then we have the ever loving and fun hardcore area of the Royal Rumble. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Perry Saturn, Steve Blackman. So out of these, right, and I always like to look back now because 01, we're talking, 22 years ago now, right? Out of these first 10, who do you think deserves to be in the, obviously Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, let's exclude them because they definitely do. Hall of Fame worthy careers?
Farouk right there, he is a Hall of Famer.
Al Snow?
I could see because he did contributions to the company.
But he was there over 10 years, He was over a decade he was there for, obviously with the Tough Enough and everything else he'd done. But when I spoke to him the other week, he was kind of like a little bit coy on the fact of being in the Hall of Fame. And I was like, in my eyes, he's a surefire Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But I think when you bring that up with some people, I think they look at who's in there and they don't really care. But he's a humble guy. When you were talking to him,
if the Godfather deserves to be in there, why does Al Snow not?
If Coco Beware deserves to be in there, then why isn't Al Snow?
Fucking Drew Carey.
Drew Carey's it. Yeah. You
don't start with that shit about the celebrity wing. It's fucking stupid.
It is.
If William Shatner deserves to go in there, then fucking Al Snow definitely should be in there.
The fact that Cyndi Lauper is not in there is beyond me.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Think about that. She actually helped the rock and roll era of WWE to make it made it cartoony, but not Ozzy more Osbourne, so than Hogan.
Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper. A lot, isn't there, that you could ask for? Do you think Perry Saturn? His career across WCW and WWE
and ECW,
or Raven might be a better shout than Perry Saturn.
I don't think Vince likes Raven. I don't know why. When they rehired him after ECW, like after WCW and stuff, he goes, "Why the hell is Johnny Polo here?" That's funny. The fact that he remembers that after 6-7 years is so funny.
Just Vince for you, though, isn't it? Right, on to our next 10 then. We've got, for 11 to 20, we've got Grandmaster Sexay, Honky Tonk, The Rock, The Goodfather, yeah, Taz, Bradshaw, Albert, Hardcore Holly, K Quick, Val Venus. Now that's a lineup, mate. That is a lineup.
Let me tell you something. Okay. Now they have that one point where everything stands still. And this was pinnacle here. Obviously, after our friend who has long sideburns and his hair slicked back, and he came to your town in a pink Cadillac. Okay. This is our second pay-per-view in a row that we refer to the Honky Tonk Man. Gets hit with the guitar. It was funny. Great, sick. Yeah. When time stands still, you have the big man in the ring. And The Rock comes out. Eruption. Place explodes. You know, and it's just awesome to watch.
Yeah. Do you know, just looking at this one here very quickly, right? In these 9 names, every one of them is pretty much a Hall of Famer, aren't they? Or of that quality. So you got Honky Tonk.
Yeah,
obviously
I'd say
in there.
I'm looking here. K Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should. The guy just turned 50.
100%.
Guy just turned 50. He's in better shape than the AEW roster.
Yeah.
I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you.
Hardcore Holly is probably the one I'd say least amount. Albie, not only for what he's done in the ring, but for what he's done since his retirement from the ring in the Performance Center and whatnot. He definitely deserves a Hall of Fame career.
Exactly. And people can say what they want about NXT, but these guys look professional.
Yeah.
And that's because of guys like him and somebody that's going to come out pretty soon.
Yeah. But, so, you know, as I say, looking at that there, I don't think there's one who hasn't got a good argument for the Hall of Fame. Bradshaw's already. So, I mean, obviously, you've already got Honky Tonk, Goldfather, Bradshaw, who are already actually in the Hall of Fame. But the other 6, I mean, The Rock's surefire easy. Taz should be, in my eyes.
I don't even think he'd even say that he wanted to be. Although, on the announcer, he's one of the best that AEW has.
It's not even a matter of if he wants to, it's whether he deserves it or not. I always look at, you know what I mean? You know, he may never go into it because of the whole AEW contacts now, but, you know, does he deserve to be in there? Yeah. Yeah, in my eyes, he does.
Hook deserves to be in the Hall of Fame now.
Fucking don't start me on that shit, Ed.
What do you mean? You don't like Hook, huh?
No, I don't.
Okay. Please explain to me this. Sorry, we're going to break into current day right now.
Because why on earth would you, just because it's like sending Hook, he goes out and beats like 3 people and it's like, Hook should be champion. Hook is Hook, you know, at the end of last year, I had people saying Hook should be Rookie of the Year. It's like, you fucking messing, he's had 1 match at that point. I don't think it's him. It's other people. It's other people that are ruining him for me.
Yeah.
And also the size of him and that, he's not, you know, he's not, in my eyes, he's not a credible threat to the champion.
I'm not a fan of when he did that no sell. I like his unorthodox when he no sold that, like, what was it, a brain buster pile driver, and the guy laid it in fine. Yeah, that's a Bear Bronson, whatever his name is, that did it. He's a fellow Long Island study guy, and you know, he did that, and then Hook just pops right up. I'm like, come on, because somebody's whispering it. But anyway, Hook for MVP, right?
Fuck Hook. Let's move on to our list. 21 to 30. William Regal, Test, Big Show, Crash Holly, Undertaker, Scotty 2 Hottie, Stone Cold, Billy Gunn, Haku, and Rikishi. Fuck, them last 2 are fucking hard people. Haku and Rikishi.
I love seeing Haku come out there.
Yeah.
And you know who sold best for them? Undertaker.
Yeah.
Undertaker was taking the headbutts. You know, this is when it was vulnerable Mark Calloway. You know, when he got that motorcycle, he became human. You know, we just watched Hotel Transylvania, and Dracula loses his powers in it and becomes human, and he could actually go out in the sun. But he's feeling the mosquitoes biting him, so he becomes human. So that's what happened to the Undertaker. He stopped being undead and ended up feeling everything. How cool was it, though, seeing Undertaker and Kane next to each other, and then Scotty 2 Hottie comes out and they beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And then you see the pop of all pops. Because remember, Big Show came in as a surprise because they sent him down to lose some weight, gain some training that WCW didn't do for him the prior 5 years. Came in, huge surprise, beats up everybody. Rock knocks him out. He pulls Rock out through the bottom rope, starts beating him up, lays him out through a table on the floor, takes him out of commission. Classic Rumble spot. Okay. Take these guys out. Let the focus on these main components here. Undertaker, Kane, side by side. Who's the only man that will not back down from them? Glass shatters, place erupts. Steve Austin comes out. We don't give him credit because I think over the past couple of years it sucks. Kevin Dunn did a wonderful job filming this.
He did, and this was Austin's third Royal Rumble win, was it?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Do you remember? There's a point in this match, I'd say around the final 4, maybe. Okay, where you still have Undertaker in there. You have Steve Austin in there, maybe Billy Gunn and The Rock. Oh no, sorry, Rikishi eliminates Undertaker. But I forgot what point in the match there is. But this is where the cinematography comes in, and we talk about developing storylines and creating stuff that we care about. Austin's bleeding in one corner. They're both laying down. Rock's in the other corner. They stare at each other and meet eye to eye. And this hush comes over the crowd, and an oh comes over the crowd. Give me that drama every time in wrestling, and you will captivate an audience.
I think also they were very, very clever in the fact that they put Austin towards the end here, because obviously, you know, in terms of fitness and wellness, he wasn't the best shape at this time at 2001, was he? So, you know, they done everything really well, you know what I mean? Austin only actually was in there for 9 minutes. So, you know, they managed them well as well, which was good.
Yeah, remember, they also stalled him too because Triple H ended up coming out and hitting him when Steve was on his way to the ring, you know, because he cost him the title shot. So that's why I have to come in there and go beat him up. They laid it out perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, and Kane. Go ahead.
Well, no, go on.
I was going to say Kane was clear-cut MVP, and you was one of the first times you thought this guy could actually win for a legitimate heel to be as dominant as he was. I don't care about Roman Reigns getting a record handed to him. This guy was the best, most dominant performance I've ever seen live. Not live, but you know.
And everybody thought that after the win at the Rumble, Austin would go on to challenge Triple H and win the title back.
Nope.
Obviously The Rock won the title before that, and then Stone Cold got the win at WrestleMania. And it just shows you that, you know, sometimes they say, oh, not this match again, not that match again. Rock and Austin have had a lot of matches, and each time I don't think it's been boring.
No.
And it just shows you if you get the storyline right, then you'll get everything right in between.
Yeah. I rewatched WrestleMania 19 a few months ago, and I sat there and I said, look at this. The match between them two was not highly advertised. It was more like Rock needs this. Austin doesn't really. It's one of the best swan songs you could ever have. And they knew it too. And just the way that chapter or that book closed was probably the most perfect way you could do it. Even both of them will tell you.
Yeah.
The Rock whispered in his ear, he says, I love you. And Austin said the same thing. And you can't picture that, but
no, it's perfect, wasn't it? Well, that was Royal Rumble 2001. What are we giving it out of 5?
Out of 5, I have to go with a perfect 5.
Yeah.
To me, because of the fact that nostalgia and not knowing what was happening and the outcome, and Austin coming out and winning, Kane was just amazing. Kane hitting Honky Tonk with the guitar and shaking his head was very funny. You don't have much emotion from him.
No. I think he even... Sorry, go on.
No, Drew Carey hitting on Trish Stratus, and then Vince McMahon getting upset by that and throwing him in the Rumble and taking the spot away from D'Lo Brown or Mosh.
Yeah. Low down.
Low down. Yeah.
But no, all in all, I thought like looking at this from the start to finish, it was just an awesome card. And the storylines, this is the big thing for me, is the storylines on this year was just brilliant all the way through. So I'm going to give it a 4.5. The only reason I'm going to give it a 4.5 is for the Ivory China match. With a bit of a screwy finish.
I'm probably gonna have to agree then. I'll probably have to go, because I tried to look past the negatives on this. And
no, don't get me wrong, it was a real positive, but I can't give it a perfect 5 when there was just that little blip in the middle there.
Yeah, I tried to take that out, but you're right. I'm gonna be with you on that, because I shouldn't give something perfect scores when there was something that was clearly wrong. So, we're not grading on a scale here. We can't do that here. Not that anybody gives a shit about our grades. Plus the fact that 20 years down the road, I think the people understood, they have their own train of thought as far as what these are. But yeah, look, it was just, you're starting to see the ending of the Attitude Era and kind of going into more of there's things that are closing here. It's just amazing. And pretty soon WCW after this will be bought out, and that'll lead into something that's not too good. But but still, we live for the Attitude Era. We love it. We try not to do all these podcasts about it, though.
No. As you'll see, we've done 1988 and whatnot. But guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate it as always. Make sure you do like and subscribe to the channel. Give us some comments as well in the comments section. And I say we're starting to see a real build up in terms of viewership and people sticking with us all the way through the podcast and whatnot. So thanks very much for joining us as always. And we will see you again, same time, same place next week. Take care.
Notifications, subscribe, guys, please.